Merry Christmas and yippee-ki-yay, motherfuckers. It's James J. McClain with a TFBTV Christmas Special. This Christmas, I'm thankful for your viewership, enabling my unhealthy diehard obsession, and financing my seasonal alcohol abuse for another year. Meet me under the mistletoe in the elevator shaft for the best and worst guns of the film Die Hard. Don't fight it, get comfy, and get ready for a holly, Gennaro, jolly Christmas. By the way, I'm not winging this. I'm not making this shit up as I go along, guys. First of all, I have seen Die Hard at least 30 times. I'm not bragging. It's actually pathetic. Second, I have owned every single one of the guns on this list. I'm saying I've got this locked up like a Nakatomi vault, but I'm about to spill my brains in this video like my name's Joe Takagi.
I'm telling you, you're just gonna have to kill me.
Let's start with very last place. I mean, the worst gun in the movie. I think a lot of you are going to be shocked by this, but I'm gonna have to go with Carl's gun in the film. Sure, it's sophisticated, it's classy, but I call it golden doodle poop because it's just high-end dog shit. And I'm telling you, as somebody who owns 3 of them. Yes, the Walther PPK is the worst gun in Die Hard. Wait, did you think I was talking about something else? Carl uses this pistol as his sidearm in the film, most notably when he delivers a face full of Christmas cheer to the Nakatomi Plaza security guards. This PPK is already 15 years older than Alan Rickman when this movie comes out, having been invented in 1931. Unfortunately, Alan Rickman's dead, but the PPK is somehow still around. Although the pistol, famously used by James Bond, will never be outclassed in class, it is on the naughty list for reliability, shootability, and quality control, in no small part because the manufacturing of the Walther PPK in the United States was re-gifted more than a Billy Big Mouth bass. Because of dumb U.S. import laws, manufacture passed from Walther to numerous American manufacturers who made an okay pistol less okayer over the years. I still love my PPKs for some reason, but tiny sights, snappy recoil, low capacity mean that you'll have a blue Christmas if you've got one of these under the tree this year. Moving on to a different Carl. Okay, well, he's not really a Carl, but you know, I'm a 90s kid, so Al the cop is always going to be Carl to me. Carl's wielding a Smith & Wesson Model 15. Yes, other Carl's PPK has an additional round of capacity and it's faster to reload than the Model 15 revolver, but the Model 15 uses the more powerful 38 Special versus 380 or 32 from the PPK. On top of that, at least you know you can expend the entire payload of the Model 15 without it choking like Grandpa on Christmas ham. The Model 15, classic revolver, used by the U.S. Air Force for 30 years before being replaced by the Beretta 92, believe it or not, and it was the official sidearm of the LAPD at the time of this film, another testament to the excellent technical work done by Die Hard's armorer. It's not all Nintendo and Barbie Jeeps for the Model 15 though, which was discontinued in 1999. It's a big, clunky, duty revolver. It's the size of a .357 Magnum, but it can't shoot .357 Magnum. To be fair, Al's Model 15 has bodies on it, and if you really think hard about it, Al's Die Hard kill count is 2. On to the third to least best. The next 2 guns are part of the Munich trio, that is the 3 9mm pistols that were invented for German police units after the terrorist attack at the Munich Olympics in 1972. All 3 of these pistols are reliable 9mm that are also concealable, but on the downside, they're all single stacks with limited capacity. 2 of the Munich trio are in this film. Our boy Heinrich, that's the guy with the blonde curly mullet, uses the Walther P5. It's a beautiful, well-made pistol with the odd quirk of being a left-hand eject. More or less, this is just a Walther P38 that had a bris. The P5 was the first of the Munich trio. The P6, aka the SIG P225, basically a SIG P226 before all the turducken, gin, and fruitcake. It's slimmer. That wasn't in the film. However, the next gun on the list, Hans, Bobby, it's your white knight, the P7 M13. The P7, third gun in the Munich trio, and the weirdest. With a heavy steel frame, unlike the P5 and P6, it uses a pointless gas piston operating system that makes it more expensive than a divorce, and it gets harder to hold than a Glock fire log after a few rounds. And how many of you just learned that Glock really makes fire logs in Europe? I'm not kidding. Even though the P7 is, by modern standards, completely useless and outdated, guaranteed a couple of rich dickheads will try to justify its existence in the comments anyways. Hell, one of them already made a whole video about it on TFBTV, huh?
I've carried it for about 5 years, and it rides either on my person or in my laptop bag at all times.
It is a good looking gun though, and it does have the neat feature of being a squeeze cocker, and I'm not talking about what your boss got fired for at the last office Christmas party. You squeeze the grip, which actually takes a considerable amount of strength and force to do that, but it cocks the striker, making this gun like a very smooth and crisp single action pistol. There are even stories out there about criminals who wrestled these guns away from law enforcement officers, only to find that they couldn't shoot them because they didn't know how the squeeze cocker system works. Hans uses the P7M13, a version of the P7 with a decent capacity of 13 rounds, which was pretty good for the time. Next on the list, and it's almost a shame to put it this low, but John McClane's Beretta 92. No question, if I had to choose between any of the handguns to take with me to Nakatomi, it's definitely going to be the 92. It's a 9mm, meaning that it's tied for first in power as far as handguns go. It's also got a 16-round total capacity with the magazines available at the time, although modern flush fit magazines for this pistol bump it up to 19 total rounds. It's famously reliable. It was the top performer in the US military's M9 competition to select a new pistol. LAPD was issued the Beretta 92 shortly after this movie came out, replacing Al's Model 15 revolver the LAPD was using, mainly because of the 92's performance in this film. All right, I made that last part up, but it'd be cool if it were true. In 1989, you're either taking a Glock, a Beretta 92, a SIG 226, or you're getting bodied by somebody who did, because those were the real double-stack high-capacity Wonder 9s of the day. A few years ago, I did a little mini documentary on the guns of Die Hard, and I've replicated the ending, the Happy Trails Hans scene, where John McClane draws the Beretta taped to his back. With his last 2 rounds in it, he puts one in the German henchman right between the eyes, and another one right in Hans's chest in under 3 seconds. Actually totally doable with time to spare. But it's better known as the gun that Mr. McAllister uses to kill his son Kevin at the end of Home Alone. A good out-of-the-box trigger, low recoil, good accuracy, mean that the Beretta is a great choice if all you have is your sidearm. True story, Bruce Willis is deaf in one ear after that part where he fired his Beretta under the conference room table. Weird how that happens when you mag dump a gun right next to your face without ear protection. The good news is he gets to hear sleigh bells jingling year-round through the gift of tinnitus. Now, while we're on the conference table subject, let's get to the next gun on the list. McClane kills Marco, who's operating the H&K MP5. But not really. The MP5s from the film are actually 16-inch long barrel civilian semi-auto versions of the MP5 called the HK94 that were cut down and converted to full auto for the movie to look like real MP5s, which is why they don't have the paddle mag release or the tri-lug muzzle adapters like this one does. Arguably, this is why Marco gets killed, because if the production team would have given him a real MP5 with this, a paddle mag release, instead of the release button that he used, he wouldn't have needed to make this awkward grip to change magazines and maybe would have lived. The MP5 was introduced in the 1960s, remains on active duty with dozens of law enforcement agencies and militaries across the world. Reliable, utterly controllable and full auto, beautiful, and Santa can bring you the civilian version, a genuine H&K SP5 for $3 grand if you've been the goodest boy of all time this year. Yes, the MP5 uses a pistol round, 9mm, so it's a little weak, but the MP5 is very easy to shoot, much more accurately than a handgun, but with a high controllable rate of fire, excellent diopter, iron sights, not to mention the additional barrel length will give you 10 to 20% more energy than a 9mm out of a pistol. I don't believe there was a better submachine gun in existence in the 1980s when this movie came out. But as former HK consultant and the founder of Thunder Ranch, Clint Kringle Smith so gracefully puts it,
If you want a rifle, get a rifle. If you want a pistol, get a pistol, but quit dicking around in the middle ground.
Basically, Clint's saying that by the time you get to a submachine gun, you may as well jump up to a rifle because they have exponentially more power and more range. You'd be lucky to make hits at 200 yards with this MP5, while the M16s used by the LAPD SWAT team are effective at well past 500 yards. At close range, the fragmentation of the M16's .223 round is utterly devastating on soft targets, and the recoil is softer than Miss Claus's booty. LAPD SWAT doesn't do much of anything with their M16s in this film, but in the hands of capable operators, they'd be much more effective than MP5s, which is why they're higher on the list. Now, there is an argument to be made that James, Hans and his crew, were trying to take control of the chimney, not the North Pole. That's my awful analogy to say that the criminals in the film were working in a close quarters environment, an office building, and therefore a more compact and maneuverable platform like a full auto MP5 would probably be better than the 20-inch barrel M16 the LAPD was using, about twice the length of this gun. In the 1980s, the more compact version of the M16, the M4, was just being cooked up, and the ultra-compact Mark 18, the 10-inch barrel version of the M16 that would ultimately make the MP5 obsolete, was decades away. So what's a Christmas Eve operator to do? Big unwieldy rifle or a short anemic SMG? The correct answer is 9. Carl left the Tannenbaum at home, but he brought the eggnog. Hold the egg. Get it? Hold the egg. Because he brought the AUG, you know? The Steyr AUG was hardly 10 years old whenever Die Hard came out, making it the most high-tech modern gun from the film, probably. And Carl certainly propelled the AUG to stardom when he demonstrated the utility of the quick change barrel in that famous rooftop scene. Kind of gives a new meaning to up on the housetop click, 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 doesn't it? Go ask a non-gun guy, hey, do you know what the Steyr AUG is? They won't, but if you say to them, can you remember that gun from that scene in Die Hard where Carl assembles his rifle on the elevator, the way to the roof, to kill John McClane? And they'll be like, oh yeah, at least if they're over age 35 or so, they'll get it. Carl's Steyr AUG is extremely lightweight by virtue of its polymer construction, the stock and the chassis basically made out of a fancy plastic, and in this film, a festive, dare I say, Yuletide green. It also uses a pretty advanced combat optic for the time. It's the ultra-sharp Swarovski 1.5 magnification optic, great for getting in a little bit of an advantage at distance, but still usable in close quarters. But the real Christmas miracle about the Steyr is the fact that it's roughly the size of this MP5 used by the other henchmen. But because of its bullpup configuration, most of the barrel's in the stock, meaning that not only does it shoot the same caliber as the M16, but it's about as small as a submachine gun. Compact, powerful, maneuverable, state-of-the-art at the time, the Steyr AUG is the ultimate solution for a hostile takeover of an office building on Christmas Eve in the 1980s, and one of my favorite guns to boot. Whoa, don't go anywhere yet. You haven't opened your stocking. As a Christmas bonus, honestly, the best gun from this film was the M60 machine gun. It's probably the only non-European gun used by Hans's crew, and it's what was used to turn poor old Al's Twinkie-filled cruiser into so-called Swiss cheese. For a brief moment, you also see it in one of the attack helicopters used by the FBI. By far the most powerful gun in the film, the M60 is a belt-fed .308 machine gun made famous by Rambo himself. It's a little heavy, but one man could easily bounce from corner office to corner office with this machine gun and a few belts of ammo. Carl Winslow found this out the hard way. Seriously, I joke around a lot on this program, but you guys mean a lot to me. I love that I've gotten to do another year of TFBTV with you. We started this channel SHOT Show 2015. SHOT Show 2023 is coming up, so it'll be, I think, our 8-year anniversary. Guys, we are now uploading all of our content from SHOT Show to our sister channel, TFBTV Showtime. Since we do between like 60 and 100 videos every SHOT Show, as well as all the other shows that we go to throughout the year. We've been dumping all the content over there on Showtime, so go subscribe to that if you want to see the good stuff from SHOT Show. Of course, we're going to post a few videos from SHOT Show to this, the main channel, but all we want for Christmas is you to subscribe to TFBTV Showtime. Thanks as usual to our sponsors, Ventura Munitions and Top Gun Supply. If you need a belated Christmas gift, make sure to head over, check those guys out, support them for supporting us. But again, thank you guys for another year. I hope you had a great Christmas. See you in Vegas.